Hi everyone, welcome to Foxon Media Digital. My name's Amy and today I'm joined by Irene Galperin, who is Senior Advisor for Financial Services at InterSystems, which is a technology leader used by thousands of clients globally to build and run mission-critical data-intensive applications. For banks, asset managers and fintech firms, they rely on InterSystems to run asset management platforms, trade order management systems, regulatory reporting engines, and for business reporting. So welcome, Irene. It's great to have you on the channel.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Amy.
Yeah, of course, you sponsored the Summit for Asset Management London, which is our flagship event that took place last week. So we wanted to catch up with you on our channel post-event to find out a bit about yourself and InterSystems for those who weren't on site. So first, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks again for having me. So as you said, I'm Senior Advisor for Financial Services at InterSystems. And in this capacity, I'm responsible for expanding the firm's global reach within the industry, having spent a decade or more of experience within the financial services industry at financial data and analytics and technology providers like Bloomberg and MSCI and Your Money Institutional Investor, among others. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and excited to speak with you today.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive straight in then. So can you tell us what the common challenges are that firms face when preparing data for AI? Because that's a talking point right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone across the industry, and I mean, I would say in the larger business community, but within financial services specifically, AI is definitely at the tip of everybody's tongue. Every networking event you go to, every conversation you have with your colleagues, everybody's sort of talking about who's doing what and comparing notes. And the asset management industry is no different. Most analyst firms and research firms would say that investment in AI and machine learning capabilities is at the top of everybody's agenda and budget priority as well. Something like 87% of asset management firms are increasing their investment in AI and ML. And, you know, I would say probably most firms overall have defined plans for AI and have some defined pilots and use cases in mind already. However, something like maybe 5% of those firms will readily admit that their data is AI ready. So what does that mean? You know, as we know, data within the asset management industry sits in silos. It's spread across the enterprise. It might be sitting in a data warehouse, a data lake, in certain production applications. And pulling, you know, the effectiveness of any AI application is the ability to harness insights across all of their various data sets to, you know, generate either, you know, to create personalized customer experiences, or even, you know, in the use of LLMs to generate accurate results. You know, they need to be able to sort of create those results building on the data assets that they have across the firm. And this is where the firms are experiencing some challenges. In addition to that, I would say because AI has sort of ramped up so quickly in the last couple of years, I would say within the asset management industry specifically, there's probably a skills gap, right? Right now, AI projects sit within the IT function. Not many firms have a data science team or a really robust kind of AI innovation lab. Certainly not within the asset management industry, maybe some of the larger firms, but not your mid-sized to smaller firms. So there's definitely a bit of a skills gap. But again, there's still interest. There's interest in firms sort of, you know, understanding how to leverage this technology to sort of remain competitive, and, you know, to attract new clients and to retain clients. And so, you know, it's certainly something the industry is factoring into their assessment of AI readiness. You know, and in addition, lastly, what I hear time and time again is compliance and regulatory concerns, right? You know, traditionally AI applications have been considered sort of a black box. I think a lot of firms have moved on from that, and there's sort of wider acknowledgement and acceptance that, you know, they need to incorporate AI into their capability set. But there's still concern over, you know, certainly auditability. There needs to be an audit trail of any outputs of an AI model. And there's also now with, you know, ChatGPT sort of coming onto the scene, there is concern over potential reputational damage, right? So what does it mean for an asset management firm to incorporate a chatbot into their website? They want to make sure that the results that come out of that chatbot are in line with the firm's ethics standards. There's, they are, factoring in sort of bias, any potential bias that come out of the results of those chatbots. And so those are all considerations that firms are, sort of grappling with right now, as well as, of course, security and, accuracy of any AI model outputs. All of those are sort of weighing on people's minds, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah, all valid points, and certainly what we're seeing from the industry too within our network of asset managers. So in the context of all that then, what role can a data fabric play in having well-organized data that aligns with a firm's strategic goals for AI adoption? Because like you say, they're all at different points in their journey. How can that help?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, the challenges that I mentioned are, quite diverse, right? You've got, AI data readiness, making sure that your data is AI ready. There's a, skills gaps component, and there's, of course, regulatory and compliance component that we touched upon. A data fabric obviously solves for or aims to solve for the data readiness component, but it can also address the skills gap and the regulatory compliance pieces as well. And so what is a data fabric? First of all, I think most asset management firms by now are familiar with the concept, but just to recap briefly, a data fabric is an architectural construct, right? It's an architectural framework wherein you sort of create a unified layer, this connective tissue of data across your entire firm by connecting to data at the source, wherever that data may be, and whatever frequency that data may be. So it could be your real-time data from your market data feed. It could be your, end-of-day data from your pricing feeds or your reference data. It could also be data in your data warehouse. It could be your CRM data. Essentially any sort of data across your enterprise from your internal sources or external third-party data sources. And the idea of a data fabric is to sort of weave that data together into one, as I said, connective tissue, pulling in data from the source. So rather than taking data out of those, applications and those data stores and moving it into yet another location, it pulls data in from the source so that you're always working with data as real time as possible. And so what are the applications of something like a smart data fabric for AI? Well, as we said, the challenge of data readiness is that right now, asset management firms have very sort of diverse, disparate data sets, and the data fabric sort of helps to solve that, right? So it unifies your data, makes it ready, into the format that it needs to be to feed your modeling environment. So essentially it could sit in front of your AI models, even LLMs, to make sure that you're sort of feeding your models with the highest quality data. And as we all know, AI models are sort of garbage in, garbage out. The better the quality data that you feed it, the better your model output will be. So that's one application of it. The other application is the InterSystems approach to a data fabric, of course, is a smart data fabric, and we've talked about this in previous sort of TSAM interviews and conversations in the past. So what do we mean by smart data fabric? So what InterSystems has done is we have embedded AI capability sort of directly in the fabric. So we have embedded ML in which you can essentially run Python directly on the fabric, which means your models are running on the kind of best quality, most timely data possible. So you don't necessarily need to move data to a separate modeling environment. You can essentially run your models on the data fabric itself. In addition, we sort of facilitate now the ability to query your data using natural language processing. So again, this sort of helps to address some skills gap potentially. So there's less functionality that needs to be built internally because we've enabled a lot of AI functionality already within our technology. And so again, you can do things like run queries on your data within the fabric itself. And to address the kind of auditability, the regulatory and compliance concern, of course, our environment is secure. It is always auditable. Our goal is to make sure that the architecture that we built for clients or the way we sort of implement it within their environment conforms to every client's data governance framework. So we, kind of factor all of those considerations into every client engagement. And in addition to that, there's, an application like TotalView for asset management is a fully managed service. So again, it helps to solve a skills challenge, potentially a skills gap challenge, but also provide, kind of augmented capability to asset management firms that are, dealing with a lot of, building a lot of new capabilities sort of fairly quickly. As they're adopting these, AI into their operational and kind of business and analytical use cases.
Thank you. No, really great explanation. And you've set the scene there with the problems and sort of offered solutions and applications of how to use data fabrics in the business. So that being said, can you share some best practices for asset management firms who are looking to transform their data processes to leverage AI? Maybe they don't have this expertise. They want some words of advice.
Yeah. No, it's best practices are sort of being published by everybody. I would say there's a lot of advice out there for asset management firms, among research firms, and sort of analyst firms are all sort of publishing best practices. But I would say one thing to consider is asset management firms really ought to consider a partnership, right? So right now, I would say there are a lot of technology firms offering capabilities that they probably don't have on board yet. And one of the things to consider is really to partner with someone who can kind of help you build at your pace and fill in some of those skill gaps that you might have. And again, as I mentioned, you might look at a managed service solution, as organizations sort of make sure that they have the resources available in-house to build for the future. So that's one consideration, is really look for a partner, look for a vendor who's not just going to be kind of, it won't be sort of a transactional kind of a partner, a relationship, but really, the other thing to consider as best practices is, there are operational benefits and there are, sort of business benefits or, kind of scenarios out there. So one thing that firms are, one of the first use cases that firms are eagerly sort of piloting are kind of cloud services, client services co-pilots. So what does that mean? So all of these firms are sitting on vast troves of data on their clients. So they have notes from conversations, from all of their various customer interactions, and all of these data sort of sitting somewhere across the firm. And so, one of the capabilities of a sort of a modern data platform is something called vector search. And so vectors are ideal for analyzing notes from all clients, unstructured notes and sort of, any format the data may come. And now you can sort of organize and structure your analysis in a way that lets you sort of find patterns across clients to identify clients who may be potentially at risk of walking away, or clients that, where you may have sort of an upsell opportunity. And so, that's sort of a customer case study of ours. So we've worked with a large asset management firm, or really kind of investment management firm, to help them sort of identify clients that are at risk, right? And so they build sort of a client churn predictive model. And we help them sort of, again, feed those models with data across their firm, wherever that data may reside. And as a result, they've identified about $350 million of at-risk of revenue that could be at risk of walking out the door. So obviously help them to take some preventative measures to target those specific clients. Another example, an operational example, is, as I mentioned, data co-pilots. And so another sort of, I would say, low-hanging fruit, sort of quick operational benefit that firms may gain from AI capabilities is being able to search the data or query the data that they already have using natural language processing. So again, bringing vector embeddings and vector search, sort of, RAG templates onto the data fabric itself, so that you can interrogate the data on your fabric. And so, bringing those sort of Gen AI capabilities into some of these existing applications could be sort of a great first start as clients are looking to implement AI across their firm.
No, some great words there, and excellent use cases, because like you say, it can be a bit of a minefield when it comes to the vendor selection, actually implementing it in the firm. So really good pieces of advice there. And thank you so much, Irene, for joining us on the channel. It's been great having you inside.
You're welcome. It's always great to be here. Thanks for having me.
And thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to follow our YouTube channel for more content on the challenges and opportunities in asset management, wealth management, and ESG. And don't forget to give this interview a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button.